A young woman whose name was Dorothy Jane Scott disappeared in 1980 in California. She had driven two co-workers to the hospital after one had been bitten by a spider. While they were waiting for a prescription to be filled, Dorothy went to a parking lot for her car to bring it around to meet them, and that was the last time she was seen alive. Dorothy was a single mother, lived in Staten, California with her aunt and 4-year-old son. She was a secretary for two jointly owned stores. Co-workers and friends said she preferred staying at home, was a devout Christian, and did not drink or do drugs. Her parents, who lived 7 miles away from her, often babysat their grandson while she worked. Dorothy's father, Jacob, said his daughter might have dated on occasion, but had no steady boyfriend as far as the family knew. Months before her abduction, Dorothy had been receiving strange phone calls at work from an unidentified male. The caller eventually professed his love for her and his intent to kill her. Dorothy's mother recounted that one day he called her and said to go outside because he had a present for her. She went out and there was a single dead red rose on the windshield of her car. Dorothy's mother also said that one call especially horrified her daughter. The man reportedly told Dorothy he would get her alone and cut her up into pieces so no one will ever find her. Because of the calls, Dorothy began considering purchasing of a handgun. About a week before her disappearance, she started taking karate lessons, but that didn't help her. At 9 p.m., 28th of May 1980, Dorothy was at an employee meeting at work. She noted one of her co-workers did not look well and had a red mark on his arm. She and another co-worker left the employee meeting to take sick man to the emergency. Dorothy then changed her black scarf to a red one and stopped by her parents' house on the way to the hospital to check on her son. Medical personnel said that her co-worker had suffered from a black widow spider bite and treated him. He was discharged around 11 p.m. and given a prescription. Dorothy offered to bring her car to the exit. She did not want her co-worker to walk in his condition as he was still not feeling well, so the both co-workers waited at the exit for Dorothy. When they did not see her after a few minutes, they went out to the parking lot. Suddenly, they saw Dorothy's car speeding toward them, but the car headlights blinded them so they couldn't see who was behind the wheel. They waved their arms to try to get Dorothy's attention, but the car sped past them and took a sharp right turn out of the parking lot. Initially, both thought that Dorothy had some kind of an emergency come up with her son. A few hours later, after not hearing from her, they have reported Dorothy's missing. At around 4:30 in the morning the next day, Dorothy's car, a white '73 Toyota station wagon, was found burning in an alley about 10 miles from the hospital. Neither she or her supposed kidnapper were anywhere nearby. On August 6, 1984, so more than 4 years later, a construction worker discovered dog and human bones side by side, about 30 feet from Santa Ana Canyon Road. The bones were partially burnt and the authorities believed they had been there for 2 years. A ring and a watch were also found nearby. Dorothy's mother said that the watch had stopped at 12:30 a.m. on May 29, about an hour after Dorothy's co-workers last saw her vehicle. 1 week after the discovery, the bones were identified as Dorothy's by dental records. An autopsy could not determine the cause of death. A memorial service was held on August 22nd. Now, if we rewind back about a week after Dorothy's disappearance, her parents received a phone call from an unidentified man who said, "I've got her," and hang up. The same man called almost every Wednesday afternoon and said either that he had Dorothy or had killed her. The calls were usually brief and usually occurred when her mother was home alone. In April 1984, that was about 4 months before her bones were discovered, the man called during the evening and her father, Jacob, answered, and the call stopped. After Dorothy's remains were found in August 1984, the family started receiving calls again. Police installed a voice recorder at their residence, but they were not able to trace the call because the man never stays on the line long enough. A possible motivation in Dorothy's murder surfaced 2 weeks after her disappearance. An unidentified man called the front desk at the Orange County Register newspaper, which had run a story that day about the case. Managing editor told police that man said, "I killed her. I killed Dorothy Scott. She was my love. I caught her cheating with another man. She denying having someone else. I killed her." The editor also said the caller knew that Dorothy's co-worker had suffered from a spider bite the night of her abduction. He also knew that Dorothy had been wearing a red scarf. But if you remember, she had changed her black scarf to a red one after the employee meeting. Neither of these details had been published that day in the article. Investigators believe the mystery caller was responsible for Dorothy's death. So today we have dig into one of the countless unsolved murders which confusing our society for decades. The next time we are going to look into what many people believe the greatest plane hijacking in history. Stay tuned. Salute.